The closest I've come to reading this book is watching Easy A when she's an English major. Hey, what's up you guys? It's Avery and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who have never been here before, what's up? So glad you're here. It warms my cold, dead little heart. In today's video, I'm just doing a little haul, a little book haul. It's not the biggest book haul I've ever done, but it's also not the smallest. It might be the smallest. There's 8 books in this haul. That's a good amount, I feel like, because I'm not droning on and on and on, but it's also not too quick that you feel like it's over too soon. But I have zero self-control in many aspects of my life, and book buying is one of them. But I can justify my book buying with the fact that 7 out of these 8 books are from Goodwill. I love Goodwill. There is some good mess in Goodwills. Sometimes, not all the times, but a lot of the times you can find some A1 books there. And I have recently. So that is the star of this video, Goodwill. Wow. But I also have one that I just bought from Target that I am gonna start with because the rest of them are Goodwill, and this is the only new one that I bought. And that is The Tattooist of Auschwitz by Heather Morris. I actually saw this book in a Target the last time I was there a few weeks ago, and I was like, it looks good. It looks really like something that I would enjoy, but I refrained from buying it. But the other day I had a gift card and I was just browsing, and this was only $13, so I was like, I'm gonna get it. This book is based on a true story. It's not a memoir exactly because it's written by someone else, but it's based on the powerful true story of love and survival. So I think there's some fictionalized parts of it, but the majority of it is based on a true story. And it says, April 1942, Leo Sokolov, a Slovakian Jew, is forcibly transported to the concentration camps at Auschwitz-Birkenau. When his captors discover that he speaks several languages, he's put to work as a tattooer, the German word for tattooist, tasked with permanently marking his fellow prisoners. So this job pretty much keeps him alive because he is useful in the concentration camps, but he also uses his privileged position to exchange jewels and money from murdered Jews for food to keep his fellow prisoners alive. Then one day a young woman comes in and he vows that if somehow they both survive the camp, he's going to marry her. So it's a love story, but it's also just a story of survival set in Auschwitz during the Holocaust. It just seems really amazing, especially because it's based on a true story. It's also not that long. It's like only 240 pages, which is super short. Very excited to read this. I've been into stories about World War II in the past few months. I haven't read tons, but I've read 2 that I've really enjoyed, and so I'm excited to read this one and see if I enjoy this one as well. Now moving on to all of these next books, which I have picked up at Goodwill. So my mom and I actually went to Goodwill on Mother's Day because she had gone the day before and taken a picture of all of these books that someone had dropped off. And y'all, when I tell you there were so many amazing books, it was insane. When we got there, a few of them had been taken, but there was still some good stuff left, so me and her each got some stuff. But the first book I was excited to see is The Evolution of Mara Dyer by Michelle Hodkin. And I read the Mara Dyer's series when I was, I think, in middle school, and I just loved it, like was obsessed with it. Me and my friend in middle school would constantly talk about how Noah was our dream guy. We literally made a whole list of like all of his great qualities, and we're like, he is the blueprint. And I haven't read the series in a while, but I'm sure nothing has changed. This is the second book in the series. The first one is The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer, which I have. Oh, it's on the shelf that you can't see. So I only had the first one, and then I found the second one in paperback, which is like the first one I have, and was just very excited to get it, and hopefully one day I'll find the third one and we'll have a whole set. But this story follows a girl named Mara after a freak accident that kills all of her friends except for her. Her family has to move to another state to like escape the fallout of this giant accident that happened. And then she meets this boy Noah. She starts seeing things that aren't actually there, and she's pretty sure that she's like losing her mind, but there's something else going on. It's a cool like paranormal, I don't know if paranormal is the right word, supernatural, story with a great romance, and it's a great YA series, so I was excited to find the second one. The next book that I picked up is The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne. I haven't actually read this. I was with my mom in the Goodwill and she was like, girl, that's a great book. You should read it. And it's just one of those classic books that I never had to read in any of my classes, so I never have. But this is like a really nice, it's pretty much in perfect condition, this paperback. I figured I would add it to my long list of classics that I will hopefully read one day. The closest I've come to reading this book is watching Easy A when she's an English major. The next book that I found at the Goodwill that I was very excited about is Heartless by Marissa Meyer. Now, if you're thinking, Avery, you have Heartless right there. Can you see it on the shelf right there? You would be correct. I have the white special edition version, which is beautiful. I love her. And so I saw the original version, which I've never owned, and I was like, I'm gonna get it. I'm just gonna do it. And I even asked my mom, I was like, is it stupid to buy another edition of a book I already own? But if I really loved it, should I just get it? And she was like, just get it. It was Goodwill. It was like $1.30 for this. So I did it, okay? Now I have both of them. They're so pretty. Like, look at the covers. Look at the covers. I'm obsessed. So pretty. They look so good together. And I'm excited to put them on my shelves right next to each other. Unfortunately, the spines look the exact same, so it would be kind of nice if the spines looked different. One day, when I actually arrange my bookshelves to look really nice and to have some sort of organization, maybe I'll face one of them outwards so that I can have them both there. But Heartless is a retelling, or I guess it's not a retelling, it's an origin story for the Queen of Hearts. It's about a girl named Catherine, and she literally just wants to be a baker, and her parents are trying to marry her off, and she's like, I just want to make croissant. At one of the king's balls, she meets the handsome and mysterious Jest, who is the court jester, joker guy. And they fall in love, but many forces come together to pull them apart. It's an origin story for a villain, so be prepared going into that if you're going to read this, because I remember reading this book and being so invested and just knowing deep down maybe it was going to work out well because she turns into the crazy girl who beheads people. So just keep that in mind. But it will just like pull your heartstrings. Another great YA book that I loved when I read it. I need to reread it. I have this problem where I read a book one time and I'm like, loved it, obsessed, and then years later I still talk about how much I loved it, but I never reread it. So I should probably do that. But there's just so many other books out there to read that I have a hard time rereading books because it seems like a waste of time when there's something that I haven't read. But now that I have 2 copies, I should probably just do it. And who knows, maybe one day I'll give this copy away because I have 2 and this is the prettier one. I don't know. Which one do you like better? It's kind of like they are both awesome. Maybe I like the black one more. I don't know. The next book that I picked up at a Goodwill is The Bridges of Madison County by Robert James Waller. And I actually have read this one. I just picked it up a few weeks ago and I already read it because it's a pretty small book. And it's about a man who is a National Geographic photographer named Robert Kincaid. He's like 50 years old, and he is on his way to take photos of the bridges, the covered bridges in Madison County, Iowa. When he stops to ask for directions, he meets a housewife named Francesca, and it's pretty much love at first sight. They're both like obsessed with each other, and you're like, damn, I've never felt that way about anyone in my life when I first met them. And thus ensues a romantic relationship. The novel spans many, many years, but it's about a brief love affair between the two of them. And listen, it's hard for me to read about stories where one of the parties is cheating. And I feel like you can't justify it in saying that her husband like was lame, but you don't feel super icky about it, even though, I don't know, you probably should. It's kind of a gray area, to be honest. But I really enjoyed it, and apparently there's a movie with Meryl Streep and Robert Redman, I believe. So I'm excited to watch that. Overall, the writing was really pretty. It had really great like prose. There was a lot of poetic writing throughout, which if you watched my recent vlog, sometimes I don't mess around with too much poetic writing because I feel like it just goes over my head and it's like too extra. But this wasn't that way. It was like very pretty and poetic, but it wasn't like, what am I reading? It was like nice descriptions of feelings and landscapes. So a great read, a simple read. It was a great summer read. It like gives summer. The next book that I recently picked up is The Last Summer of You and Me by Anne Brashares. I love Anne Brashares. And I say that because I'm referring to the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants series. It's so good. It's such a good series. I don't know if I read the first book before I watched the movies, but I've watched the movies as well, and the movies are also just like iconic. I also like loved the series. I'm like so excited to grow up and have a daughter so I can like force them onto her because they're great. This is unrelated to those books, but I know that she's a great author, so I'm sure this is going to be good. But it's about two sisters, Riley and Alice, who are in their 20s, and they're very different, and they spend every summer at their parents' beach house. And every summer, there was also this guy named Paul, who was a close friend to both of them. Now he's come back after a few years away. It says his return marks a season of change, of unspoken attractions, tragedy, and deep secrets that will launch three friends into an unfamiliar adult world from which their summer haven can no longer protect them. So I'm not sure if it's like a love triangle with two sisters, which is like giving Bridgerton season 2. This one also seems like a great summer read. I've been into like summer feeling books because it's summer, and despite my sweater that I'm wearing, it's hot outside. The next book I was excited to see, and I picked it up to give it to my sister. So if you're watching this video, which love her, but I don't think she is, but this is Over the Top by Jonathan Van Ness. So my sister is obsessed with him. I mean, he's iconic. Just look at the cover, you know. It's deserved. But she loves Queer Eye and loves Jonathan Van Ness. And Jonathan Van Ness is absolutely hilarious, and so I'm sure his memoir is also hilarious. But it's also, I know about like some of like the hard things he's gone through, and you know, what it was like being judged and ridiculed and all of the hard things that he went through before he was able to have all this self-love that he has for himself now. And so I'm sure it's a great read and funny and emotional. So I was excited to see this. I'm gonna give it to my sister. We've made it to the end. If you've made it this far, that's cool. Thanks. But the last book that I found at Goodwill is Pachinko by Min-Jin Lee. I first got exposed to this because I saw, I think, the trailer for the Amazon original series that they just made based off of this book. And it looked really good. And so I was like, I bet the book's really good. It's also, I know it's a great book. It's the National Book Award finalist, but it spans many years, I believe, and it's the story of a Korean family's immigration to Japan. It says history is seldom kind, and Min-Jin Lee's best-selling magisterial, is this a word? Magisterial? I'm gonna put it on the screen. Epic. 4 generations of a poor, proud immigrant family fight to control their destinies, exiled from a homeland they never knew. So it starts in the early 1900s, and it says it moves from the bustling street markets to the halls of Japan's finest universities, to the pachinko parlors of the criminal underworld. Lee's complex and passionate characters, strong, stubborn women, devoted sisters and sons, fathers shaken by a moral crisis, survive and thrive against the indifferent arc of history. I don't actually know what a pachinko parlor is, which is the title, so I'm gonna look that up. It says pachinko is a type of mechanical game originating in Japan. It's like an arcade game. I'm interested to see like why the book is named after that, if that's a big part of the story or if it's a metaphor or, you know. So that's interesting. Good to know. So I'm excited to read that, and then if I enjoy it, I'll watch the TV show. So those are all the books that I've gotten recently at Goodwill and one from Target. I saw something online somewhere that said that reading and book buying are two completely different like habits or obsessions, and it's so true. Like book buying is so, it's different than actually loving to read. I mean, I love to read, but I also love to acquire things, and I love to acquire books that I know are popular or really good, and then to find them for cheap at a Goodwill, oh, it's like heaven sent. Thanks for watching this video. If you've read any of these books and liked them, hated them, let me know in the comments because I would love to get your opinions. I need them. I'm incapable of forming my own opinions. I need someone to tell me. So let me know. If you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more videos from me in the future. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.